Hi all. The other day I watched a Big Think video called Religion is Nature's Antidepressant. I'd used clips from the video, but Big Think slaps anyone who dares use parts of their video with a copyright claim. Thankfully, they do put the transcript in the description box, so I'll just read it from there. If you want to watch the original video, I'll leave the link in the description box below. Let's get started. So when you look at the really unique, bizarre things humans have come up with, ranging from cave paintings to Snapchats and everything in between, probably the most unique and universal thing we've come up with is this religion business. We talk about the symbolic metaphorical thinking. Essentially, there has been no culture on Earth that has not invented some sort of what could be termed metamagical thinking, attributing things that cannot be seen, faith-based belief systems, things of that sort. It's universal, and 90 to 95% of people believe in some sort of omnipotent something or other out there. Not sure that's actually true. While you can argue that 90 to 95% of the population worldwide believes in God, that doesn't necessarily mean they believe in an omnipotent God. I've even spoken to Christians who believe that Yahweh wasn't all-powerful or omnipotent. I haven't found many of them, but they do exist. Anyhow, it's not that important. I just thought I'd point that bit out. Moving on. Every culture has it. People have endlessly speculated about the evolution of religiosity, and at least in terms of westernized religions, it makes perfect sense why they've evolved, because they're wonderful mechanisms for reducing stress. It is an awful, terrifying world out there where bad things happen and we're all going to die eventually. And believing that there is something, someone responsible for it, at least gives some stress-reducing attributes built around understanding causality. If on top of that you believe there is not only something out there responsible for all this, but that there is larger purpose to it, that's another level of stress-reducing explanation. If then on top of it you believe that individual out there is benevolent, even more so control and predictability. Benevolent and listens to human entreaties? More elements of control. Benevolent, listens to human entreaties, and prefers to listen to people like you who look like you, pray like you, request like you. Even more so. They're just all these levels of control, predictability, they're stress reducing. So this might be part of it, and I have to admit that I've never thought of it from this angle before. I've more considered religion an offshoot of our need to have answers. By that I mean, as a species we seem to value a bad answer over having no answer at all. And I think you see this played out in Theist Questions for Atheists here on YouTube. A lot of those questions have nothing to do with God, but with unrelated subjects that they like to explain using their particular God. Talking about questions such as how life began, how the universe began, etc. Instead of just admitting we don't know something, a large percentage of the human race would prefer to have some sort of answer, even though it lacks evidence and is highly unlikely. Religion often fills this void. I do think he's onto something when he talks about religion's ability to alleviate stress. And you can find some convincing evidence that shows religion can help make people happier. It's certainly possible that some of that happiness could be attributed to religion, and the belief that some benevolent entity is watching out for you. Carrying on with the transcript. And what is infuriating to me as an utter complete atheist is a very, very solid literature showing the health benefits of religiosity. Independent of you tend to get a social supportive community. When you're religious, you have fewer lifestyle risk factors. The mere ability to perceive causality, reason, benevolence. Benevolence, especially for people like me if I say the right combination of words and fervently believe in it. That's wonderfully protective, and there's health benefits to it. Now he loses me a bit here. I don't know what he means by lifestyle risk factors, or what types of lifestyle risks religion would lessen that a secular philosophy couldn't accomplish better. For example, we know that abstinence-only sex education leads to more teen pregnancy, not less, and that comprehensive sex education has the opposite effect. We also know that some religious institutions and individuals push for abstinence-only sex education, despite the statistics. I think lifestyle risk would have to be evaluated on a case-by-case or issue-by-issue basis, and being religious doesn't necessarily mean that you have fewer lifestyle risks. If it is a totally heartless, indifferent, apathetic universe out there, you are far more at risk for all the logical things, which is to conclude it is an utterly depressing universe out there. Not sure what he means by all the logical things. That doesn't sound very specific, and we're part of the universe and people aren't necessarily apathetic. I agree that as a whole, the universe does its thing indifferent to our wants and needs, but that's why it's important that we as a species care about each other. The universe might not care, but we do, and that's the part that isn't depressing. Rate of depressions are much higher among atheists, go figure. So in terms of that, it makes perfect sense why this is something that people have come up with, and rather than asking why is it that 95% of humans come up with some form of religiosity, a much more biologically interesting question to me is, what's up with the 5% of atheists who don't do that? And yeah, I don't know the answer to that. I don't completely understand why so many people embrace bad answers instead of admitting they don't know. I don't know why so many people need a caring, loving, invisible entity to care about them when they are surrounded by human beings who are fully capable of showing they care both physically and emotionally. I don't know why the thought of living forever somehow gives your present life more meaning or purpose. I think a lot of it has to do with fear. Fear of death, fear of being forgotten, fear of the unknown. I suspect that our pattern-seeking brain has a lot to do with religion. The idea that if we say some words in a specific way, we can achieve a desired outcome might seem like a powerful totem against powerlessness. For example, you might be faced with a loved one dying. The doctor tells you there is no hope of recovery, and they have a month to live. I can understand the feeling of powerlessness that might arise from such a situation, and a person might be willing to grasp at a straw of hope and pray to an entity that likely doesn't exist. But doing something feels better than doing nothing. Personally, I'm more interested in reality, in figuring out ways to cope that are based on observable reality. I also think basing our philosophies and coping strategies on reality would be likely to result in better outcomes overall. Maybe not in every area, but in many. But maybe I'm completely wrong about that. I do like his question though. What's up with the 5% of people who don't develop some belief in a deity? Why is that the case? So let me know what you think in the comment section below. As always, thanks for watching, take care, and cheers.